Have you ever felt like you were losing the most important thing, like a wedding ring falling into deep snow? So what truly remains, material objects or the memories of love? The ring disappeared. Imagine you have lived with someone for more than 40 years. So many winters, so many evenings by the fireplace, so many simple dinners filled with love. And then, on one freezing Danish morning, the old husband awkwardly says, I think my wedding ring is gone. Do you feel your heart tighten? A tiny ring, something that seems so small, yet to them it feels like a piece of their entire life's memory. The ground is covered in snow, white so endless that everything looks the same. Picture yourself picking up handfuls of icy snow, your fingers trembling in the wind. It's like trying to find a needle at the bottom of a frozen ocean. Your brain screams, forget it, it's useless. But the heart refuses to give up. Because that ring is not just metal, it is 40 years of living together, of arguments and reconciliations, of quiet but fulfilling days. The funny thing is, sometimes we cling to a small object just to feel certain that love is still there. But then the moment we lose it, life forces us to ask, do I love the ring, or the person who wore it with me all my life? Yes, that is the gentle punchline of fate. So here it is. The story begins with a ring disappearing in the snow. But you'll soon see, what disappears can sometimes open the door to what will never be lost. The snow fell unexpectedly. Have you ever woken up and found the whole world wrapped in a giant white blanket? In Copenhagen, snow can arrive like an uninvited guest. One day you're riding your bike to the market, the next day the streets look like a cartoon, silent, except for the crunch of snow falling on rooftops. And it was on a day like that, the ring disappeared. Your brain thinks, great, now the treasure hunt officially begins, but the entire playground is covered with billions of tiny ice crystals. Imagine dropping a small golden object under thick snow. Science actually explains why it's nearly impossible. Yes, gold contrasts with white, but sunlight bouncing off the snow blinds your eyes, making it impossible to tell what is a sparkle of metal and what is just melting ice. Basically, nature is trolling you. The old husband looks down at the ground, then at his wife. He sighs, the kind of sigh that already admits defeat. But the wife only smiles softly. It's all right. A ring is only a circle of metal. Simple words, but they cut straight into the heart. The snow keeps falling, freezing but breathtakingly beautiful. And in that cold, they begin to realize this story isn't just about a lost ring. It's about how people stay connected, no matter how heavy the snow falls. Memories return. Picture this. The wife kneels down in the snow, brushing aside handfuls of white powder, and suddenly her mind drifts back to the day she first slipped that ring onto her finger. It wasn't a fancy wedding. No orchestra, no ballroom, no royal moment. Just two young people in a small Danish church, nervous smiles, shaky hands, and promises whispered as if the whole world didn't need to know, because it was enough that they knew. The brain does this little trick. when you lose something physical, it throws old memories at you, like reruns of your favorite show. It's Psychology 101. That tiny ring becomes the anchor that pulls back the floodgates of time. She remembers the cheap bouquet he picked from the local market, the bicycle ride after the ceremony, the way they laughed because the rain ruined her hair. To anyone else, those details are trivial. To her, they are priceless. And here's the punch. Science says nostalgia can literally warm your body. Studies have shown that when you recall happy memories, your brain increases blood flow, makes you feel less cold. Which means, while the husband is shivering and cursing the snow, she's oddly smiling, wrapped in a blanket of memory. She looks at him, and her eyes say, "I don't need the gold to remember the promise. I carry it anyway." The snow keeps falling, but the past is alive, glowing like a hidden fireplace inside her chest. What disappears in your hand can still survive in your heart. That's the strange paradox of memory. It makes loss less empty, and sometimes, even beautiful. The heart over gold. Here's the twist. While the husband keeps poking the snow with his cane, grumbling under his breath, the wife suddenly laughs. Not a cruel laugh, not sarcastic, just that kind of gentle laugh you hear when someone finally understands something bigger than the problem in front of them. She says, slowly and clearly, "It's just a ring. What matters is still standing right here." Now, your brain hates that kind of logic. It screams, "No, no, we must replace what we lost. We need closure, we need the shiny thing back." But the heart operates on a different frequency. It doesn't care about gold. It cares about presence, about the fact that after 40 winters, this man is still here, searching with her, instead of disappearing long ago. Psychologists will tell you that humans have a weird relationship with objects. We load them with emotions, like USB drives for feelings. A wedding ring is just metal until you pour decades of meaning into it. But when that metal vanishes, the meaning doesn't. The love doesn't vanish either. It just floats free, no longer tied to an object. The husband looks at her, confused. He wants to argue, because come on, it's their wedding ring. But then he sees her eyes, calm, steady, amused. And he realizes she's right. The circle of gold may be gone for now, but the circle of life they built, the children, the home, the years, they're all still shining. The snow crunches under their feet, the wind bites at their cheeks, and suddenly the search feels less desperate. Because sometimes, the moment you stop clinging to the object, you actually start holding the memory tighter. The curious neighbor. Just when the couple is about to give up their clumsy treasure hunt, a small voice cuts through the quiet snow. "What are you looking for?" It's their young neighbor, a girl with red cheeks from the cold and eyes wide like saucers. She tilts her head, holding a sled behind her, already guessing there's something interesting happening here. Children are like living microphones. They hear one word, and suddenly the entire block will know. But the wife smiles and explains gently, We lost a wedding ring out here in the snow." The girl's jaw drops. To her, a wedding ring sounds like a magic item straight out of a fairy tale. Here's the funny part. Psychologists say children are natural meaning makers. They don't see just metal. They see stories. Dragons, treasure, unbreakable promises. So in the mind of this little neighbor, the snow isn't just snow anymore. It's hiding a secret quest. The husband groans, embarrassed. He doesn't want to look like the old man who lost his jewelry. But the girl's excitement is contagious. She asks 100 questions in a minute. Is it shiny? Does it have diamonds? Did you drop it right here? What happens if nobody finds it? And suddenly, what felt like a failure now feels lighter. Because sometimes, all it takes is one curious kid to flip the script. What was a problem becomes an adventure. And the couple, standing in the freezing street, realizes, maybe losing a ring is less tragic when someone else believes it's the start of a fairy tale. A lesson for the young. The girl keeps staring, waiting for more answers. And instead of brushing her off, the wife kneels down so their eyes meet. She speaks slowly, almost like she's narrating a bedtime story. This ring was never about gold. It was about a promise. About choosing the same person every day, even when life got cold. The little neighbor blinks, as if she just heard something way bigger than she can fully understand. And here's the science part. Children absorb values not by lectures, but by stories. When you wrap wisdom inside a tale, the brain remembers. That's why fairy tales survive centuries, because they carry truth dressed up as magic. The wife continues, you see, the ring is only a symbol. Love is not in the metal. Love is in the years we shared. In the mornings we argued about coffee, and the nights we laughed about silly things. The ring only reminds us of that, but even without it, we remember. The husband watches this little exchange, and for the first time all day, his frown softens. He realizes that while he was worrying about what was lost, his wife was teaching what could last. The girl nods slowly, as if taking mental notes for some future day she can't even imagine yet. And in that snowy street, one simple truth is passed from an older generation to a younger one. Love isn't trapped in objects. It's alive in people. Sometimes you don't need a classroom or a book to learn the deepest lessons. Sometimes all it takes is one missing ring and a winter afternoon. Unexpected help. The little neighbor doesn't stop at listening. She suddenly announces, I'll help you find it. And before the couple can argue, she drops her sled and starts digging through the snow with both hands, like a puppy chasing a scent. Here's where human psychology kicks in. When one person joins your struggle, the weight feels lighter. Social scientists call this the shared load effect. Basically, your brain thinks, if someone else is willing to do this crazy thing with me, maybe it's not so crazy after all. Soon, more neighbors wander outside. First it's a teenager with headphones who pretends not to care, but still kicks the snow around just in case. Then a mother carrying groceries pauses to ask what's going on. Within minutes, the entire sidewalk transforms into an impromptu search party. Laughter mixes with the sound of shoveling boots, and suddenly the freezing street feels alive. The husband is stunned. A moment ago, it was just the two of them, old and defeated. Now, the whole block is bending down, brushing snow, making jokes about Danish treasure hunts. The wife leans over and whispers, "See? Even loss can bring people together." It's ironic, isn't it? One small circle of gold disappears, and in its place, a larger circle forms. Neighbors, strangers, all connected by the silly yet beautiful mission of finding what was lost. The ring hasn't been found yet. But already, something precious has been uncovered, the reminder that we're never truly alone, not even in our smallest struggles. A surprise in the snow. Hours could have passed, or maybe it was only minutes. Time feels strange when everyone's hunched over poking at snowbanks. Then, suddenly, a shout, "I see something." The little neighbor, cheeks flushed red, holds up a tiny glimmer between her fingers. At first, it could have been just a piece of ice catching the sun. But no, the circle of gold flashes unmistakably. The crowd cheers as if she just scored the winning goal in the World Cup. The husband stumbles forward, blinking hard, not sure whether to laugh or cry. Imagine losing hope, accepting the end, and then, bam, life hands it back to you, warmer than before. That's dopamine science, by the way. Your brain releases a surge of joy when the impossible suddenly becomes real. It's the same chemical rush gamblers chase, except this time it comes wrapped in love and snowflakes. The girl beams, her small hand trembling as she passes the ring back. She has no idea she's just restored 40 years of memory in one simple gesture. The wife bends down, hugs her, and whispers something the girl won't forget. "You didn't just find a ring. You found a piece of our story." And here's the irony. That tiny band of metal, hidden for only a few hours, now feels more valuable than it ever did in 40 years of wear. Sometimes losing something isn't the end, it's what makes you realize how much it truly meant. The neighbors clap, laugh, and slowly drift back to their homes, leaving the couple standing in the snow, holding the past and the present in their hands. The moment of reunion. The husband takes the ring, staring at it as if it's the first time he's ever seen it. His hands tremble, not just from the cold, but from the weight of 40 years condensed into a golden circle. He slides it back onto his wife's finger, slower than he did on their wedding day, as though this time he understands, fully, what it means. Here's the secret: objects don't gain value from their price tag. They gain value from the stories we attach to them. Neuroscientists call this emotional tagging. Your brain ties feelings to objects, which is why your grandmother's teacup can feel more precious than a diamond necklace. This ring now carries not just a wedding vow, but the memory of being lost and found again, by love, by neighbors, by sheer persistence. The wife smiles, and for a second, the snow doesn't feel cold anymore. Around them, the world is silent, except for the crunch of their shoes and the faint echo of laughter fading down the street. The husband whispers, almost embarrassed, "I thought I'd lost everything." She squeezes his hand. "No, we just found more than we knew we had." It's a reunion, but not just with the ring. It's a reunion with perspective. With the reminder that what matters isn't metal, but memory. Not the object, but the love that breathed life into it at in that frozen Danish afternoon. The circle is complete, not because the gold was recovered, but because the meaning was renewed. The question that remains. As the couple walks back inside, the world feels softer. The snow still falls, but now it seems less like a blanket of loss and more like a page being rewritten. The ring is safe again, shining faintly under the warm glow of the living room lamp. But here's the kicker, its shine isn't what matters anymore. The wife, still holding her husband's hand, asks quietly, "Do you think love lives in this ring, or in us?" It's not a trick question, though it might sound like one. Philosophers call this the paradox of symbols. We create objects to carry meaning, but sometimes we forget that the meaning lives without them. Science backs this up too. Studies in memory and attachment show that people treasure experiences more than possessions. The brain recalls how something made you feel far more vividly than it recalls the object itself. Which means, what truly lasts isn't gold. It's the laughter, the promises, the mornings and nights, the ordinary days stacked into extraordinary years. The husband doesn't answer right away. He just looks at her, then at the ring, then back at her again. And in that silence, the answer is obvious. Objects can vanish, be broken, or be lost in the snow. But memories, if you carry them, nurture them, share them, they outlive the object every single time. So the story closes not with certainty, but with a question you must answer for yourself. What truly lasts? Things you can hold, or the love that holds you? That's all for today. I'll make more similar videos in the future. Please subscribe to watch them.